What is today? Wednesday. That means I get to go see my grandson. Where are you guys at? What's going on? I'd love to know. But today I'm a little excited because I've been learning more and I want to share some stuff about whether you are looking for sugar control or fat burning and what that looks like, especially with the protocol I talk about. And in regards to insulin resistance. So, why? Well, because it was brought up to me that one part of the protocol is really great for fat burning. Got some exciting news about that. But then I found an audio that I had done with Dr. Bickman where I was asking him some questions and he gave me some answers. So I want to bring those answers to you. I will do a video about them later, but it's all about fat burning autophagy, getting your sugars under control, all of that. Why is all of that important? So I talk a lot about insulin resistance. That's my wheelhouse. I'm not good if you're going to ask me all about all kinds of female hormones or all kinds of other stuff. I am not a medical provider. I'm just a woman who got sick, got better, and got on this journey to figure out what was going on and why I was getting so much better. So here I am. Now, why is any of it important? Well, insulin resistance affects 93% of us, 93%, or better, more specifically, metabolic disorders affect 93% of us. And at the root of most of those is insulin resistance. So if we can get the insulin resistance under control, there's a number of things that we could start to work on to get better. And interestingly enough, I'm going to take a little side leap. We're going to talk about insulin resistance, what it is, why it is, what's causing it, and how we can get over it. Give me a minute because I want you to explain this. But I want to talk about every day I talk to people in regards to insulin resistance and all of this. But yesterday I was talking to a gentleman who has muscular dystrophy, very thin, has anxiety, has some problems. We were talking about one of the products in the protocol. And then it spurred me to do some research. And it was amazing to me that even with muscular dystrophy, insulin resistance is linked. So a study showed that 37% of young men with muscular dystrophy also had some form of insulin resistance, regardless of whether they were heavy or not. That's a pretty big chunk of them. Now, is it issues from the muscular dystrophy causing the insulin resistance? I haven't dove in that far. But it's interesting to me that insulin resistance is linked to so much that's going on in our lives. And whether it's A causing B or B causing A, when they're working together, it's never good for our health. So one of the key things we can do to help our health and help us get better just on a day-to-day basis overall is to keep our insulin levels under control. So let's talk about insulin and figure out what that is so you all, I didn't know. You guys, when I started this journey, I had no idea. I've listened to doctors who say that they're not taught about it. I worked for doctors for years. Nobody ever talked about insulin resistance. Nobody ever addressed that with all the people who came in with hormone issues, with thyroid issues, with sleep apnea, with all of these other, and even allergy issues. Nobody ever talked about insulin resistance. And yet it's linked to all of that. And doctors will tell you they're not taught about it in med school. They're not taught to talk about it. They're not taught to deal with it. They're not taught how to overcome it. They're not taught to do anything, not anything, but basically they're taught to give you medications to get numbers under control so that their metrics are looking good. But it doesn't mean that it's addressing the root cause or causing health for you. They're not causing health for you. They're causing numbers to go down because that's what they're concerned with. And that's not to say that I'm making doctors bad, but it's just what they're educated for. So here we go. Insulin resistance. Why is it important? What is it? What's going on with you? Insulin resistance is when we're having so much of the food that we eat convert into sugar too quickly in our bloodstream. When that happens, our body cues our pancreas to start creating insulin, a hormone. I don't have the word insulin up there. I can't point to it today. It creates this hormone called insulin that is there to transport the sugars to every cell in our body. I'm so excited about the stuff I want to tell. I can't even keep myself straight. So when it's transporting the sugar to the cells in our body, we want to think about every cell in our body needing this insulin to deliver that energy. But it's also like a key. You have receptors on your cells that allow insulin to deliver the sugar. If those receptors are not working well, or the key isn't working in the lock, the energy can't get into the cell. That's what's happening with insulin resistance. We've had so much sugar so often, and our insulin levels have gotten so high as a result that our cells no longer want to allow insulin to deliver the goods. Okay, why? So when we're eating food and it converts into sugar, this is what's happening. Our blood sugar levels go up, and there it is. Let's do this. Let's do this because I'm all kinds of out of sorts today. Okay. So when I get my life under control, we'll all be happier. Okay. Yeah, I know, right? Okay. KKK. I said go away. Go away. There we are. Okay, so this is what's happening when we're eating sugar too often, and it's creating this need for insulin. What's really happening is that we have these sugars spiking, which creates a need for insulin. Insulin has to come up higher than that sugar level so that it can transport it. Basically, as high as your sugars go, your insulin is going to go that high. Sugars can drop quickly. Insulin, the hormone, doesn't, because you've told it it needs to be there. So it's worried now that you're going to do more eating. You're going to do more that's going to create the need for it more. So your sugar levels go up, your insulin levels go up. And if you're doing this over and over and over again, what you're doing is training your insulin level to stay high. So now you spike your insulin level, and your body says, oh, they're going to eat in just a couple hours. They're going to have a snack. They're going to do something that's going to put more sugar in my bloodstream, so the insulin level stays high, and then it's not coming down. So then the next time you have this big spike of sugar, insulin is delivering it as quickly as it can, which causes this blood sugar dip. So now you have this glucose crash. You're tired, you're hungry, you feel fatigued, you feel brain fog, you just feel like you want to crawl under a blanket and curl up for a bit after you eat. If you're experiencing like goosebumps, like it feels like somebody poured cold water over you, you're just tired, you're fatigued after you eat. I had that going on for years, and I kept asking and asking and asking what's going on. Nobody ever, not even my physicians, ever addressed this reactive hypoglycemia, or this glucose crash that happens as a result of having too much insulin in your body too often. But that's what's happening to you. So your sugars are going up, insulin is delivering it, and then your sugars crash, and now you're cold, tired, you want to just lay down for a while. That's a cue that you're insulin resistant. That's a cue, a big, big cue. So what you need to know with this too, though, is that insulin, while it's out, it's blocking fat breakdown, it's blocking fat burning, and it's stimulating fat storage. So what we're really having happen here is when that insulin level is high, and if you're experiencing reactive hypoglycemia, you've had high insulin for a long time, okay? But let's go a step further back. So if insulin is delivering energy to the cells, that's a good thing, right? We need that, right? For our cells to be healthy. But when we have insulin resistance, I said the cells aren't taking it up. But then I just showed you that insulin is getting rid of that sugar out of your bloodstream, and you have reactive hypoglycemia. And now you're like, what the hell, Misha? What is it? Well, when your cells are resistant and insulin is doing its job, it's got to find some place to put it. And we have a great warehouse unit on our body called our fat cells. And so it's going to go there. And it's going to start putting that energy in our fat cells. We have two types of fat cells. I'll deal with that in a little bit. But it's going to start storing that energy. Now you're gaining weight. Now you're getting bigger. Now you're having problems even losing weight because your insulin level is high. You're experiencing reactive hypoglycemia. You're fatigued after you eat. You're hungry after you eat. And everybody's telling you just eat less, exercise more, or eat every 2 hours, and you're going to cure all your problems. Well, it doesn't just happen like that for most people. And eating every 2 hours is actually destroying your metabolism. It's cueing insulin to stay high all the time. And that's not what we want at all. What we really want is to get that insulin level down so that our bodies can cope with the food that we're eating, so that we can get into a fat burning state, so that we can have some balance in our metabolism. I want you guys to think about day and night. If it was daytime all the time, which happens in Alaska and Siberia, right? Ask those guys. So if it's daytime all the time, how do you ever get rest? Because your body's getting cues from the light. We need nighttime. We need night and day. It's a yin and yang thing. There's always a balance. Always think of everything in our body and everything in our life as a scale. There's always a balance. So if we're having insulin too much all the time, then the balance of glucagon, which I'll deal with in a second, can never come up. So we have to get the insulin down so that we can be more metabolically healthy. Thank you for all the loves and likes. I appreciate it. I really do. So we'll take a look at this. So this is what's happening for most of us when we eat. We're having a meal, our blood sugar spike, we're cueing insulin to go high. It stays high. We eat again, especially if you're eating every 2 hours, you're eating again, and then your blood sugar just goes up again, and the insulin is staying up. And when insulin thinks it can come down, you eat again, saying insulin says, oh, nope, I got to be up there. But if you can figure out how to do this instead, where you're reducing your blood sugar spikes, so insulin never has to go high and can come down, now you're starting to be more metabolically flexible. Well, how do you get to this state? We're going to deal with that in just a few minutes, okay? So what first I need you to understand is this is all happening because our food has been changed. Our food has been modified. We all know this, right? Is there anybody here who doesn't understand that the food we have today, even the raw organic food that we have today, is not the same as the food that we had 50, 60 years ago? It's not the same. So they've done a few things to our food, and it's partly because of us, and it's partly because of the industry. So what they've done is they've modified out fibers. Why? Well, fibers fill you up. You're not a very good consumer if you're full all the time. If you eat and you're full and you're not going back to eat every 2 hours, you're not buying that snack bar, you're not buying that candy bar, that bag of chips, that soda pop, that whatever, you're not a very good consumer. So what is a good consumer? Somebody who wants and needs that all the time and has room and the hormones that are saying, yeah, we need more of that. So that's kind of behind all of this. We drove that need though, right? We said we want food that tastes better. We want food that's more delectable. We want it bigger, better, and we just want more, 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 more. We've gotten into this place in our timeline where we just think everything bigger and more of is better, and that's not always the case. So my favorite analogy is this. A peach used to be about the size of this, okay? It had a lot of fiber. It was crunchy. It was a little bit bitter, a little bit sweet. It was not quick and easy to eat. Now our peaches are the size of my fist, and they're sweet and they're juicy and they go down quick, but you get hungry again right away after. How did it go from this to this? We stripped the fibers out of it, and you're going to see this throughout a number of our foods. It just is the way they've done us, right? So fiber is key, but I'm going to talk about some things because I had that graphic up that said fat burning or sugar control. And I want to talk about both of those things. To get insulin down, we need to control the sugar, right? But most of us have excess fat because we've had this out of control sugar and out of control insulin. So we want some fat burning. That's why the protocol that I'm going to talk to you about is 2 steps, and we're going to explain all that. But this is insulin resistance. You're just having high sugars, high insulin all the time. Before I dive into all that, I want you to understand why this is important, because it's not just about weight loss, right? All of the things on this list are linked to insulin resistance. So yes, erectile dysfunction. Yes, osteoarthritis. Yes, childhood obesity. Yes, migraines. Yes, high blood pressure. Yes, PCOS. Yes, strokes. Are you guys any of these things on this list? Type a 1 if you see yourself in any of these things on this list. Because if you see yourself in any of these things on this list, it's very likely that you're insulin resistant. So anybody have any of this? Hypertension, PCOS, starting to have brain fog, all of that, arthritis, obesity, high blood pressure is huge. Does anybody have type of 1 if you're experiencing any of that? Anybody see yourself in any of this? Because most of us see at least one of those things. Yeah, Mandy, do you mind telling me which one you see? You guys, which one is it that's your, because if you want me to, I will address, if I can. I don't address all of these, but if you want me to, I'll address some of these and why it's happening and why it's linked to insulin resistance. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this works for men too. Brain fog, joy. Okay, we're going to talk about brain fog. But you guys, this list is also insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is linked to every single thing on this list. Now, and yes, cancer. I don't talk about cancer very much because I will get my little hand slapped, but I'm going to talk about it because it's important. Okay. Insulin receptors, ladies, you have 6 times the insulin receptors in your breasts than anywhere else in your body. There's so much that goes on with your breast tissue and insulin resistance that it's insane. But, so is there any wonder why, Rebecca, I'm going to get to the how to fix in just a second. Is there any wonder why we have these cancers that are linked to insulin resistance? Breast cancer, ovarian cancer, colon cancer, bladder, pancreas, liver, and prostate cancers are all linked to insulin resistance. I'm not going to say that it causes it. I will say that it increases the chances of, increases the severity of. Get the insulin resistance under control to help yourself. So all of these other things, the endocrine disorders, circulatory disorders, even eyesight, vertigo, Meniere's disease can be linked to insulin resistance. And this is the one that people usually get mad at me for. But look at that list. Alzheimer's, dementia, peripheral neuropathy, retinopathy, Parkinson's and autism can be linked to insulin resistance. About a month ago, I talked about hormones and fertility and how insulin resistant parents are more likely to have an autistic child than parents who conceive and carry without insulin resistance. That's pretty amazing. Okay, so we have a lot of questions here. Let me get into some of these things before I go into the answers. So I want you guys to understand how it's affecting your life, or you're not going to understand the answer and you're just not going to take the answer as quickly. Okay, so brain fog. So this is what happens. You have a body that's insulin resistant. You guys, we have to stop thinking about our body as just from the neck down. Our body is everything that we have attached. So if your body's getting insulin resistant, your brain is getting insulin resistant at the same time that your body is. What does that mean? Your brain needs glucose to function properly. So we're talking about brain fog. If your brain cells are having problems taking up the energy, which means they're not getting in the insulin, so they're not unlocking and allowing that glucose or those carbohydrates in, then your brain can't function properly. Now you have brain fog. You may have depression. You may have anxiety. You may have Alzheimer's or dementia. You may start showing signs of Parkinson's. Not only are the brain cells not getting the energy they need, they're not able to utilize the hormones of our dopamine and serotonin as well, the neurotransmitters, sorry, not hormones, but they're not able to utilize those well. So you're not sleeping well. You're awake at times you shouldn't be. Your moods are dysregulated because all of this is misfiring in your brain. And not only that, the neural pathways in your brain, instead of a signal coming from one side and going zzz, and hitting this next side, zzz, is my little like transmitter thing. It's those messages are coming out the sides of these pathways. So when they shoot out the sides of the pathway, it doesn't go from this to this and carry on. It's just kind of stuck there. You're not able to think properly. You're having all kinds of other issues, brain fog. So high blood pressure, there's about 5 ways that this insulin resistance causes high blood pressure. And high blood pressure is caused with insulin resistance. I'm going to go over them quickly, and then we can come back to it if you want me to go into them more in depth. Insulin resistance creates a thicker lining inside the blood vessel, narrowing down the space that the blood can pass through. Pressure goes up. The same volume through a smaller space means pressure is up. So then it also affects the way your kidneys can get rid of salt. Why your doctor says watch your salts. Why is this? Because where salt goes, water goes. So excess water in the blood, because you can't get rid of salts, means more pressure. Your blood vessels can't relax. There's a chemical called nitric oxide that your body puts out to allow those blood vessels to be pliable and expand and relax so that they stay more open and allow the blood flow through. But now that cue is not happening from that thickened inner wall of the blood vessels. So now they're smaller and they're tighter and they're not flexible, and your blood pressure is going up. Okay. And then you're in a constant state of fight or flight. So it's increasing your cortisol. So now your heart's beating faster because you got to be ready for a danger that's not there. Insulin resistance increases your cortisol levels, putting you in fight or flight. Stock market secrets, we'll talk about that in a little bit. I'll get back to some of these questions. So that's number 4. So we're not getting the blood vessels are too small. They can't loosen up. There's too much water in our cells, and we're in a constant fight or flight, creating higher blood pressure all the time, slightly elevated all the time. That higher blood pressure, that increased volume in smaller veins means your blood pressure is up. So 130 over 80 or higher, you're probably insulin resistant. 95% of high blood pressure comes from insulin resistance. So then the 5th way, cholesterol. Y'all hear about cholesterol? Watch your fats. Don't eat the saturated fats. Don't do all that stuff. Take the yolks out of your eggs because you got to watch your cholesterol because your blood pressure is up. Cholesterol in the body that's causing that is created by sugar, not fats. That elevated amount of sugar causing that elevated insulin is what's creating that cholesterol in your body. So we hear about LDL, the bad fat. Right? I'm going to give you guys a calculation. Get your pens out. This is related to high blood pressure, but it's also related to insulin resistance. So get your pen and paper out. I'll give you that calculation in a second. LDL, the bad fat. There's actually 2 types of LDL, type A and type B. Type A is huge, buoyant, like just kind of bounces around, doesn't get stuck around, doesn't like sink to the bottom of your blood vessels. Type B is smaller and denser. It sinks to the bottom, it gets clogged up in your arteries, and it starts to cause this cholesterol build up in your arteries. Now, why type B? Because when we're insulin resistant, there's the hypothalamus, the brain is cueing more production of this type B cholesterol than it is the type A. Now we have a problem. 5 ways insulin resistance is causing your high blood pressure. Fatty liver. So your liver is storing some excess fats for future use. Okay. One of the things that's causing fatty liver the most, I got banned for this a while back, but I also have a video from Dr. Bickman I'll be putting up in the next few days. Fruits, fruit juices. Fruit juices especially are causing a load on the liver. They're a form of fruit that has to be processed through the liver more rapidly. But the liver processes a lot of these sugars, and so it's getting fatty because it's overloaded. It's not working as well. It's gaining this fat in there, and then that's all caused by the sugar, not the fats you eat. And now your liver is starting to slow down. Now your gallbladder's not working properly, and now you're ending up with gallstones. Now, there's other ways to end up with gallstones, but insulin resistance is a huge way that can happen. So inflammation in the body. When we have insulin resistance, it causes inflammation through a number of hormonal dysregulations. And that one I'm not ready to talk about this morning, Joy. It just skipped right out of my brain. Joy, I will get my brain back together and we'll come back to that. Obesity, high blood pressure, vertigo, diabetes, cancer, PCOS. Whew, Kim, I would say, I mean, for me, if I looked at that list and I would just be like, okay, I'm going to address my insulin resistance and see. And you guys look, I'm going to give you some answers that are just really dealing with food. They're not medications. They're not anything crazy. So why not? Why not address it and see how much of that gets better? So vertigo comes back to the brain. I used to have horrible vertigo before I started the protocol that I'm using. I had blood pressure that was out of control. I had diabetes. My diabetes has been reversed. I don't have cancer. PCOS, I will come back to PCOS. Remind me if you want me to talk about PCOS. It's another one that I like to talk about, but it does have to do with hormone regulation. It does have to do with testosterone, estrogen. Now look, one quick thing I'm going to say to stock market secrets. If your body is not producing testosterone, because insulin resistance is impeding that, or it's using up, what I should say, too much testosterone to convert into estrogen. So maybe you had man boobs, maybe you had love handles, maybe you were putting on fat, maybe you had a number of other issues going on. Is it really that your testosterone is not being produced enough, or is it the fact that insulin resistance is impeding your testosterone because it's using up too much of it to convert to estrogen? So rather than telling your body, I don't need to produce testosterone anymore, which is what you do when you're doing exogenous hormones, then why not allow your body to regulate so that testosterone level can come up and your insulin level is down, and now you're getting healthier all around. It's happened for a number of men. Why look at one of the end results and address it? Why not address the root cause? So I'm going to pause really quick and say, all of us, women and men both, our hormones start out as androgens, so think testosterone, and they use those androgens to convert into estrogen, so, and progesterone. So this leads into PCOS, but I'm not going to dive in deep on that. However, with men, your testes, number one, are not producing enough testosterone, and number two, when you're starting to gain fat because you have insulin resistance, the fat cells are acting like ovaries, converting more of your testosterone into estrogen. Now your testosterone levels drop. So why not address the insulin and allow your testosterone levels to go up? That's my answer. Why go the backwards way around it? Yeah. So, and hormones are key, you guys. But insulin, what I want you to understand when we talk about this whole thing with hormones, insulin is a primary hormone. So if insulin is dysregulated, it's going to dysregulate every other hormone in your body: cortisol, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, DHEA, follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, thyroid hormones. There's the leptin and ghrelin. Those were the two that I was like thinking of and couldn't spit out. All of those hormones are going to get dysregulated because of insulin resistance. So do we want to say all of these got dysregulated because there's this big bad bully out here and we're going to ignore him, but we're going to pick on these guys and say it's all your fault, let's address you? Why not address the bully, get the insulin under control, see what happens with your hormones? If your hormones are still dysregulated on this, when you have your insulin under control, then yes, talk about my on hormone pellets. I'm not a hormone specialist. Personally, I don't particularly like them, but that's a personal issue, and I can't really get into why. I worked in hormone clinics for years. There's the hormones are a whole different thing than the insulin resistance. I love you, but that's not one that I'm ready to answer this morning because it takes us in a whole different direction, and I really want to stay focused on insulin. So there's the answer about testosterone. Why not address the testosterone instead of just addressing the insulin? Because why not give your body the chance to produce its own testosterone? Because it can if you get the insulin resistance under control. Yeah, we're going to get there really quick. You guys all ready to talk about how to get rid of your insulin? And Mandy, I hear you with the autistic child and a child that's type 1. The protocol that I'm using, look at, I am high functioning autistic. Am I quirky? Yep. Am I too blunt sometimes? Yep. Am I extremely autistic? Yep. There's a reason I like to work at home and not be out like fraternizing like everybody else. But it's helped mine so much and my autistic child so much. I have a child that's type 1 diabetic that has been able to reduce almost completely the load of their fast-acting insulin and reduce by about 40% the load of their long-acting insulin. I've had adults who are type 1 who use it as well. So we're going to dive into this. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of options for addressing your insulin. The first one I'm going to give you is something that we've all heard about, and I'm going to dive into this a little bit more with the protocol because this is important. You guys, stop eating so often. Just plain and simple. You want to get your insulin under control, stop eating so often. I showed you. Every time you eat, your insulin goes up, right? Every time you eat, your blood sugar goes up, your insulin goes up. Now you have this higher level of insulin. Now there's a reason why I'm saying that. When we are fasting, these things are happening in your body. Okay. So we're going to go with a timeline of say we stop eating at 6 o'clock at night. I didn't stop eating until like 9 because I got busy and I just forgot to eat, or I wasn't hungry at 6 and then I waited too long, whatever. So 6 o'clock, say that. It takes about 2 hours for your digestive system to really process through all of that. Your blood sugars start to normalize at about 4 hours. Now, about 6 hours to 8 hours later, your blood sugars are really starting to drop again. When the blood sugars have dropped and you've gone these hours without spiking it again, the body says, oh, we can rest. We don't need to produce any more insulin. Really? 8 hours, about 8 hours after you've eaten, before your body, for most of us that are insulin resistant, will say, okay, no more insulin, we're good, we can take a rest. 8 hours after you ate before insulin goes down. Remember I talked about day and night, yin and yang? So insulin, anabolic, it wants things to grow. It's an energy transport system, but its goal is to make things grow. It wants growth in the body. It doesn't care that some cells are dying off naturally and they need to go. It doesn't care. Don't get rid of any cell. I've worked so hard to put all this energy in the body. You can't take anything away. That's insulin's viewpoint. Glucagon, the component to insulin, is catabolic. It wants to eat things up. It says, hey, there's these junk cells out there. There's these things that need to go away. We have too much fat. I want to get rid of all of this stuff. But glucagon cannot do its job as long as insulin is at play in the body. That makes sense. As human beings, in times past, when we weren't eating so much, our body needed to reserve that energy, right? Our body needed to prioritize us getting energy so that we could survive over burning energy and wasting away. But we've flipped that switch too far. So now we have too much energy, too much insulin, and glucagon never gets to do its job. 8 hours before insulin goes down. Glucagon cannot come out to play until insulin goes down. Insulin's asleep. Glucagon kind of starts to peek its head out about 10 hours after you've had your last bite of food. Glucagon goes, oh, hey, it's safe. I can come out to play. Glucagon comes out. Now the rest of the body's like, oh, what's this new player out here? We have this thing called glucagon. Hey, glucagon, we haven't seen you for a while. So now the body goes, oh, wow, insulin's not bothering us anymore. The gut starts to reset. Your gut microbiome starts to reset. The cells in your gut start to reset. Now your body says, oh, okay, we can do the cleanup work that we've needed to do because that hoarder insulin, it's not here now. So now your body starts to produce things like human growth hormone, ketones, and it starts to want to clean up all this mess in the body. Oh, Kim, I never gave you guys the calculation. I'm sorry. I'll give you guys the calculation in a minute. HDL to, so you want to go the other way around. Triglycerides divided by HDL, Kim. You guys write that down. Find your labs. Triglycerides divided by HDL. We'll go back into that later. So glucagon is finally out. Your gut's resetting. You have hormones out that are helping you with hunger and satiety. You're helping your anxiety and depression. You're helping a lot of things. But ketones are just little messengers that are telling your body to burn fat for fuel. Now, you're not putting sugar or food in your body, so your body still wants fuel because you have like 32 billion processes going on in your body every single second of every single day. That's a lot of energy. So your body is still needing energy, right? Are you going to miss energy because you're not eating? No. Most of us have fat. Most of us have other cells. Most of us have fat stored in our liver and everywhere else in our body. And now our body can go, woohoo, we can relieve some of the stress. We can start to lose weight. Fat burning, right? Insulin down, glucagon up, ketones up, your fat burning. Well, that starts to happen at about hour 14. It really kicks in. So between hours 14 and hour 16, your gut's resetting, your glucagon is up, your insulin is down, you're starting to burn through fat for fuel. You're starting very, very slowly starting to get to this phase where you can get rid of junk cells. But most of us, when we wake up in the morning after not even fasting for 8 hours, when insulin just starts to go to sleep and glucagon says, oh, hey, maybe I can come out, we eat. And what do we have? We have bagels, we have oatmeal, we have cereal, we have pancakes, we have waffles, we have all of this stuff that's just going to spike the insulin out of control again. And now glucagon goes, oh, not today. I can't do anything for you today. So no fat burning today. None of that's happening. Okay. Thank you, Herspod. So 16-hour fasting is going to be key to you getting your insulin under control. I'm not talking fat loss, but I am. But I'm talking about getting your insulin under control. You want your body to be able to start saying, I don't have to burn this energy for fuel all the time. I can burn fat for fuel. I can switch between the two. So it's like me walking into a room, flipping the light switch, insulin, and never flipping that light switch back off. Never turning the lights off in a room. Okay, so we need to have that ability to switch, but we've lost that ability because we're so insulin resistant. It's like the light switch is stuck on and cannot flip off anymore. And now you're annoyed because you're going to sleep in this room with all these lights and all this stuff going on. No. Okay, intermittent fasting, 16-8. 16-8 just means fast for 16 hours. So you want to look at like this. Whatever time you have your last meal of the day, count 16 hours forward before you have the next meal of your next day. Try to keep your eating to 2 meals in that 8-hour period. You're going to start to affect your insulin levels. Way 1, okay? Now, this next one, I have an ebook because there are 6 tips here. 6 tips, and you can do this without the protocol that I use, but we're going to talk about it, okay? So the tips are these. You want to get in fiber first. I have super greens on my finger. Fiber first before you eat. Every time you eat, the fiber slows down the sugar delivery into your system, slowing down the insulin levels in your system. So if you're not getting in fiber first, you're having that spike of sugar. And remember, we want to keep the sugar spikes low so insulin doesn't have to go so high. Keep them low. Fiber first. Then you want to prioritize protein in your diet. That's what should be on your plate next. Protein. Protein only spikes your insulin half as much as carbohydrates do. It helps. It's the most satiating out of the 3 macros. If you don't know what the 3 macros are, type in a 1. I'll tell you about that in just a second. Type in a 1 if you need to know what the 3 macros are. But so we're going to go with fiber first. Then we're going to put protein on our plates because it's going to satiate you and it's only going to minimally spike your insulin. Then you're going to eat fats. Fats don't spike your insulin unless they're those trans fats and those unsaturated fats that are drenched in hexane and whatnot. That causes inflammation in your body. That causes insulin to go up. But the fats you want to focus on are extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, butter, ghee, and yes, the animal fats. Stop taking the yolks out of your eggs. That's where most of the nutrients in your eggs are, is in the yolk. Why would you throw that away? Stop with all the egg white madness. That's not causing the cholesterol problem in your body. So fats, fiber, protein, fats, and then limit your carbs. Now, macros. Macros just mean the major components of nutrients in your food. So we have macronutrients, we have micronutrients. Micronutrients are like your vitamins, your minerals, your enzymes, all of that stuff. Your macronutrients are the big boys, okay? So they're carbohydrates, my finger, carbohydrates, protein, and fats. So those are the 3 macronutrients. All right. So if it's not a fat and it's not a protein, then it is a carbohydrate. So many people, I was included in this, don't think of their fruits and vegetables as carbohydrates. They're a carbohydrate. Guess what? Fiber is a non-digestible carbohydrate. So when I talk about limiting your carbohydrates, it's not just the breads and the pasta and the potatoes. It's all of that. Like I have fruit as a dessert now. I don't have fruit all day long because of things that happen with the liver. I'll be posting a video from Dr. Bickman about that soon. But you guys, even your green peas, corn, those are higher in the glycemic scale. That used to confuse the hell out of me. Let's simplify it, okay? The glycemic scale really is showing you how much fiber is in your food. If it's low on the glycemic scale, it has a lot of fiber, most likely. It has less sugar content, and it's going to deliver into energy a little bit slower in your system. High on the glycemic scale means that it's really high in the glucose or the sugar, and then it's going to deliver more quickly into your system because it doesn't have very much fiber. So guess what fruits are high on the glycemic scale? Bananas, pineapples, watermelon. Some of the best ones, you guys know what some of the best fruits to eat are if you're going to have fruits? I know that most of y'all know about one of them, but I love to talk about the second one. They're higher in fiber, they're lower in glucose and or sugars, and one of them has a component that can actually help your brain. If you want to know what those are, type in a 3. Let's switch it up. Type in a 3, and then I'll tell you what those are. But that's so the 6 simple tips. Any kind of berries. Rebecca said strawberries, any kind of berries are really good. High in fiber, low in glucose or sugar. They convert less quickly. Dense in nutrients, especially things like blueberries and the darker berries are really dense in nutrients. Eat those. Yeah, have those, okay? But there's one fruit that Dr. Lee, a doctor who wrote this book called Food as Medicine, one fruit that he recommends above those, and it's in my fridge right now, and it might surprise you. And I was really happy to hear this. You guys want to know what it is? Some of you guys already know. That fruit that he ranks above berries is pears. Low in the glycemic scale, really high in fiber, low in the sugars, but the difference with this is that it has chlorogenic acids in it. We're going to talk about chlorogenic acids in a minute. Pears. A pear a day can help you get your brain function back because that chlorogenic acid is one of the things that can cross the blood-brain barrier, affect how your brain is working positively, but it also can affect your blood pressure. Okay, so pears. Berries or pears, those are the fruits that I would suggest. Like, do I like oranges? Do I like apples? Yes, I very rarely eat them. Okay, so fiber, protein, fats, limit your carbs. 2 more suggestions, okay? One we just dealt with, which is some intermittent fasting. Got to give the insulin a rest. The 6th one is move your body. You guys, you all know, I don't need to even ask. We all know that we are not moving as much as we used to. We all know that we're sitting in front of these things called computers. Our jobs have changed. Our lifestyle has changed. We're sitting in front of the computer all the time. We're not out and doing, like when I was a kid, we never sat in front of TVs or games, and we were out playing. Man, I was getting tossed out the upper floor of our house by my brothers. We were playing football. We were running through the woods. We were doing all kinds of stuff. And so was everybody else. We moved a lot. So did our parents. We don't move enough. 25 to 30% of the cells in your body that are going to make you more insulin sensitive are your muscle cells. And yet we're not moving them. If they're moving, they're open and they're saying, hey, I need energy. They'll take that insulin in, but you got to move them. So move your body. Those are the 6 tips. Go to my profile link. I'll type it in over here for you guys on Facebook and YouTube. It's a free book. It goes over all of what I just said and gives you the chance to just sit with it and know what all of that was. That's one of the ways that you're going to start to work on becoming more insulin sensitive. Okay, those 6 tips. All right. So now, combining both of those things and then giving you some extra help, okay, is the protocol that I use. Now, what it does is it gives me energy in the morning. It helps me burn fat for fuel. It helps slow down the insulin spikes. It gives me the right kind of fibers because you guys know that every fiber in every food is different. So that orange bottle and that green bottle, they're 1 or 2 types of fiber. They're okay for helping you clean out, but we even have a fiber that has like 27 that's for cleaning you out, okay? So fiber is not just fiber. Now, another thing is that another doctor said that 3 grams of the right kinds of fiber, can increase your longevity by 10 to 15 years. I don't want to have to worry about, did I buy this food? Did I buy that food? When I'm traveling, do I have this? When I go to my kids' house or to a friend's house, do I have the right kind of fiber with me to be able to do what I need to do? So I utilize the system, and this is the fiber that I use because it just mixes in water. I drink it down 10 minutes before I eat, and that's it. So the system looks like this. A tea in the morning, and I'll go over these products in a second if anybody wants to know. The tea gives me energy. Now, when I talked about, do I want to regulate sugar or do I want to do fat burning? Here's the key. This helps you burn fat. This will help you lose weight. This will help you feel better. This will help your mood and reduce your anxiety. There's been studies on this. There was a short study that they did. They gave this to a group of people for 30 days. Their wellness score, meaning their happiness, their outlook on life changed 75% in that 30 days. So not only does it help you burn fat, it helps you feel better. When you feel better, you do better. How are you going to eat better, do all of that when you're not feeling great, when your mind is just messed up and you're depressed and you're mad and you're just like, what the hell, I give up. I was there, so I get it. This helps with all of that. Now, I'm drinking it hot this morning because in the last couple of days, and I kind of heard it before, but I just didn't heat it. If you drink it hot, it amplifies the fat burning effects of this tea. Now, I'm in a fasted state. This does not break your fast. Let's talk about what breaks your fast real quick too. But the protocol, we'll talk about that in a second. This does not break my fast. It gives me energy, gives me mental clarity. It helps me burn fat. It's helping my ketones kick out of my body. And I'm not hungry because I'm burning my own fat for fuel. So I have the energy I need and my body's not like, hey, I need energy. So it's not hungry. Hunger is just your body needing energy. The second part, I ate at 9 p.m. last night again, so I won't eat until about 1 this afternoon. Okay, so I will have this 10 minutes before I do eat. Now this controls the blood sugars. This is helping the insulin come down. If you're just wanting energy and to lose fat, you can do this. If you want to lose fat, get your energy up, do this, and then do this. If you're trying to keep your blood sugars down and get this whole insulin thing under control. 1 before my lunch or my breakfast and 1 before my dinner, and that's it. This is my entire day. It cost me about $5 a day. Everybody should give it a try because everybody's in the same situation that I was. 93% of us are sick, and it comes from our food environment. So why not? So if you are ready to check it out, it's in my profile link. It's the very top. We'll just look at it. If you go to my I've got to get to the right place here. There we are. If you tap on my picture up above, a big white box is going to come up down below. Click on that, and you're going to get to my profile. Over here, you guys have already given you the link. And Joy says they both taste great. They do. I love the taste of these teas, you guys. It's amazing. I'm having the lemon ginger right now. All right, so let's get over here and do this. Let's do this. So if you guys are ready for it, and please know that it has a 90-day money-back guarantee. This has science-backed. It's not a hokey. This company's been around since like 1908. We're not going anywhere. Okay, you just go to my profile, click right below these red lights. There's a link here. When you get there, you're going to see this. And this is new for some of you, okay? If you want to order the system, you click here. That's going to take you to the company's website. And this is important. If you're not buying directly from the company, you're not getting the guarantees. Amazon, eBay, Walmart, they're not authorized sellers. You're going to spend more. I've had so many people so upset because they went there thinking it was going to be the better deal and they ended up spending about $100 more than they needed to. Insane. Don't do it. So my name should be up there. That's going to link you to me so I can coach you, text you, give you information, and you're just going to click the buy now. This is what you're going to get. You're going to get, if my computer will turn over, you're going to get 30 of the tea, 60 of the pre-meal drink. The tea comes in 3 amazing flavors right now. Lemon ginger, which is I'm having now. It does have a strong hit of ginger though, or lemon or black. Black, let's talk about black because it's still around. It is made to look and taste more like coffee. Same tea, just has a different taste. So that's the black. You're going to choose one of those flavors. The balance only comes in the orange flavor right now, but it tastes like a light orange Julius or a creamsicle. It's amazing. Joy, what do you think of the taste of the balance? Plus, you're drinking that one really quickly, so I'm like, oh, it's not one that I'm just enjoying, although the taste is great. All right, so it costs about $5 a day. If you do it on a one-time purchase, it is going to cost about $159 for the month. If you do it on a subscription, you're going to save $5. You get free delivery. That's going to save you another $10. You can cancel that at any time. You get this free hand mixer. the first month as our gift for you for being on subscription. You get all of that on subscription. You can cancel. You want to cancel, you need to change it, whatever, just text me. I help you out. This is not like, oh my God, I can't remember where I can do this, and you're done. All right. Now, let's go back to this really quick because I want to say something. Those of you who are like, well, I really am not concerned with the blood sugar control. I just need more energy. I just want to burn more fat. We've done an amazing thing. That Unimate that you see me drink, because I drink 2, sometimes 3 of those a day, we have now a booster pack of Unimate. So even if you are on the system and you've been buying it and you're like, but I go through more Unimate, you can now get the booster pack. Why the booster pack? It's going to save you a little bit of money off of the cost of the Unimate. And now you have that energy that you want for the whole day. So you can get it in all the flavors. You can get it lemon, lemon ginger, or the lemon ginger 2-pack. You can get it lemon and black. You can get, it doesn't have it in the 2-pack for black right now, but there, even on these though, when you click one of these links, it's going to still take you to the company's website. Okay. So you want to make sure you're buying from the company's website if you want all the guarantees. Now, so that's the tea. And yes, I'm going to utilize the 2-pack of Unimate because I go through so much Unimate. I had to make a mindset shift a while back, and I was looking for other things to drink, right? Like water. I love water, but sometimes you want something more. And this was great in the morning, but in the afternoon, I kind of wanted something with flavor. Then I started realizing, yes, it costs about $5 a day for the system. So when you buy the 2-pack of Unimate, it's costing you closer to $2 for a pack. But when I look at a soda costs me that much, but the soda is not helping my health, and this is giving me energy, and it's giving me all the good stuff while helping my heart rate. I started drinking more of this in a day and realizing I had more mental clarity and energy. So there's the Unimate 2-pack that just came out, and that's amazing. All right, so Joy says she loves the balance. It's amazing. Denise, $5 a day. I'm not sure how old you are. I'm 60. And I get it. That's what I said too. So look, when I started, I was driving for Lyft and Uber because my body had failed me so much. I could no longer work in medical clinics. My legs actually gave out on me because my nerves, I'm pretty mentally tough, but my body was like, Misha, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. This level of pain sucks. And my legs would literally just collapse from underneath me in the medical clinic. And I was becoming a danger to myself, to the clinic, and I couldn't work there anymore. And then I was in so much pain, I couldn't take on a normal job, even a sit-down job, because I wasn't sure when I was going to feel well or when I wasn't. So the only thing that I could think of was to do the gig economy, drive for Lyft and Uber, because I could control when I was working and when I wasn't, and I was seated, so I wasn't having to walk on joints that were hurting. I get it. When I first thought about it, I was like, that's a lot. I don't know if I can do that, but let's talk about it really quick. At the same time, I was on 10 different medications, about $10 a copay for those medications. That's $100 a month I was spending on medications. Then I'm going to the doctor's office twice a month at minimum. The time, the gas, the everything, and the copays for the doctor's visit, that's adding up, right? Then I was eating all the time because I just was craving food, didn't know why, was getting heavier, was getting sicker. Nobody could figure out what was going on. I did the system at $5 a day. I started eating less. My food budget went down. I got off of all of my medication. I don't pay for any prescribed medications because I don't have any prescribed medications now. I'm not going to the doctor. I haven't been to the doctor's office in almost a year. The last time I went was for an annual physical just to check my numbers. At that last visit, my numbers were, my blood pressure was like 112/74, which it still stays at now. My A1C was down to 5.3. My blood sugars were like at 98 fasted, and my lipids were under 150. It was all in normal range, and I'm not on any medications. So the time and the cost of being sick costs you far more than $5 a day. So when we look at $5 a day, and I get it, I'm not like, I get it. It just is a mindset shift. So for me, when I had a walker and a cane, I couldn't play with my grandkids. I couldn't walk up and down stairs. I was just laying on the couch in pain and depressed all the time. What's the cost of that to my life? $5 a day. It took some adjustment to figure it out, but I did it. And now I actually save money by doing this, and my health is better. My grandkids get a grandma that wants to play with them. I'm starting to run again. I have energy. I'm doing more than I had in the last 10 years. Okay. So there's that. Think about that. You guys get to make your own choice. I get it. All right. Now, any other questions? I know I missed a bunch over here because I was talking. What's the name of it? I just showed you guys where to get it. Does anybody have questions about any of the things that they may be suffering with that link into this? You guys, and my commitment to you too is when you use the system, do it for 90 days, give your body a chance to heal, because you're giving your body the nutrition that it's been missing. So it's going to take a minute. For me, it took me 40 years to get sick. I couldn't expect to get better in a week. Okay. Give yourself about a week for every year you've been sick. PCOS was one. Does anybody still want to talk about PCOS? And here's the thing with the tea too, Joy. Yeah, gosh, time's closing in on me. I'm going to get the cookbook out to you guys, as imperfect as it is, in the ebook form. But in the cookbook that I'm working on, this tea and some suggestions that you can do with the tea are in there. One of the things I love, I didn't do this morning because I didn't think about it, is I have a chai spice recipe in there that none of it breaks your fast. There's no sugars in it. You can add a little bit of chai spice to your tea in the morning. It's a little lemony. I like it in the ginger, and it's great. You can add cinnamon to it. You can add MCT oils to it. You can do all of that. There are so many ways you can have the tea as long as you're not spiking your insulin. So I promised to talk about that a little bit too, and I got off track. We talked about this and how it's helping you burn fat for fuel. It's helping you produce ketones. We talked about that ketones are just messengers that tell your body to burn fat for fuel. All right. So some of you guys are new to me. I do because I've been sick for so long and had so many other problems. I had Hashimoto's, I had PCOS, I had insulin resistance, I had so thyroid issues, but I've had sleep apnea, I've had all these things. I've had my gallbladder removed. I have had problems. So I play with some intermittent fasting. Oh, the caramel fuel with chai. I haven't done that yet, Jason. So I'm going to try that now, because there is a form of this with MCT oils in it, and it's called Fuel. You can get that as well. And the chai spice added to the tea is just amazing. Have you tried it in the black yet, Jason? Because I haven't done that either. I'd be interested. I bet I would like the black better with the chai spice in it. My favorite is just the lemon and the lemon ginger. Okay, so this. When I was listening to the conversation I had with Dr. Bickman, I asked him, because I do some longer term fasting from time to time because I want to utilize autophagy. I had a really bad turkey neck when I lost weight. Yes, I still have an old lady neck. I still have some loose skin. This is why I do fasting. The fasting, the autophagy, the fact that your body's eating up these junk cells helps tighten up your skin. It helps your skin clarity, all of that. You don't have to do it to get your health back. Intermittent fasting, yes. Long-term fasting, you don't have to do. You get to where I was and you're like, I want to see what I can up level it. I did a 5-day fast. I did a 7-day fast. I did a 10-day fast. Wow. Right. And then last month I did a every other day fast, which I will do again in January. You guys, I'm going to let us all get through the holidays, but January 1, just forewarning you, get excited. We're gonna do a challenge where we're gonna do an every other day fast, because it's gonna speed up your metabolism. It's gonna help you get into that autophagy a little bit and start eating up some of those junk cells. Help with your skin and your liver and all of that. Okay, so January 1, we're gonna start doing the 36 and 12 fast. If you want to do that with me, just be ready. Just get yourself ready. Hey, Sean. Balance is delicious. I love it. So this is the thing with balance, though. I got to shut up. During the fasts, one of the fasts, I decided, hey, I'm going to play with this. Now, do I test my blood sugars? Yes. But during the day when I'm fasting, when I looked at my blood sugars were going up and down all the time, which is normal. You guys, just because you're fasting doesn't mean your blood sugars tank and they stay down. Guess what? Fat burning means that that excess energy that you stored gets released. So when your body dips down, and mine would dip down to about 60, but I wasn't tired. I had brain fog. I didn't feel dizzy. I didn't feel cold. I didn't feel any of that. And then I would watch my blood sugar start to rise again, up to about 120, maybe 150. I'm like, how is this happening? I'm not eating. Why are my blood sugars going up? Because that's your body utilizing that fat and turning it back into energy so your body can function through the day. So blood sugars are great, but they're going to be at different points during the day. So I started thinking, well, I'm going to start testing my ketones, because if insulin is present in your body, ketones are going to be low. If insulin is down in your body, ketones are going to start to go up. So in a fasted state, your ketones should start to level, should start to climb and climb and climb. Now, at first, when you're really insulin resistant, your ketone levels may go way out of control because your metabolism doesn't know how to control itself. So watch out for that. Too high of ketones, you might need to break your fast. But mine weren't. My ketones were going up to like 3 or 4, and they were hanging out in there. And so the second time I did it, I did the balanced drink. Now, the first couple of times I do the Unimate to help with the hunger. It helps boost up the ketones. This is what Dr. Bickman said to me when I asked him about what my thinking. Number one, he said my thinking was spot on. But number two, I said, well, hey, Dr. Bickman, I did this tea or this drink in a fasted state to see what would happen, and my ketones went up. And so we had a little talk about fasting, ketones, and autophagy. You guys ready for this, like the brief version of it? What he told me was, there's this thing in your body called, so we've all heard of medium chain triglycerides, right? Well, there's a short chain triglyceride that actually induces fat burning. Well, when you drink this and it hits your gut and it hits the microbiota in your gut, they will likely start to produce those short chain fatty acids, cueing your body to burn fat for fuel. In a fasted state, my ketones would go up when I would drink this. But then I said, well, but I've heard that if I'm not just drinking water or tea, I'm messing with my autophagy. So how does that affect autophagy? Dr. Bickman's answer on autophagy was this: if you're not spiking your insulin, you're not affecting autophagy. The worst way that you can resist autophagy, which is that great state where you're getting rid of junk cells in the body, is to have your insulin spike. Don't do anything to spike your insulin. You'll stay in autophagy. That was his answer. That was a big question I had for a long time. So does it mean I can only drink water? No. Does it mean the next time I do fasting, this helps me feel full, but it's spiking up my ketones, which means I'm burning more fat? This is spiking up my ketones, which means I'm burning more fat. When I do the fast in January, you guys want to know something? I'm going to still be doing about 2 of these a day, and I'm still going to do 2 of these a day on the 36-hour fast, understanding that that's helping my body produce ketones and burn fat and start to turn around metabolically. So look forward to it. It doesn't mean you have to put your system away and only use it 1 day a week. I'm going to use it every day, and we're going to see what that does. So are you guys have any other questions for me this morning? That was a lot of information, and I appreciate you hanging out with me. Jason, it's so good to see you. And yeah, the chai spices in the tea, you guys, is amazing. Okay, so let's go back to this, and then I'm going to see if anybody has questions. And if not, I'm going to go get this abbreviated day of mine done. It's my Kenny day, and anybody who knows me knows that that's my grandson. He gets Wednesday nights, and he gets every weekend. How do you start the fasting? So most of us have a problem with fasting, right? Because we're so sugar addicted, and like I was that way. My son kept talking to me about intermittent fasting, and I was like, yeah, son, I get it. It sounds great. I would try it, and I couldn't sustain it. And some people can, great for those of you who can. What helped me with the fasting is the same protocol that I just been talking about. When you do fasting, you want to start with about a 16-8 fast. If you just feel like you can't get there, at least do 12 hours. I went over why a little bit ago, and I can do it again if I need to, but my fasting, I have this every morning. I woke up at 7 this morning. The first thing I do is make up my tea. It's getting cold now. I should have drank it by now. But the tea supports a fast. So when you're in that state where you're putting out HGH and ketones and you're burning fat for fuel and your gut's starting to reset, this supports that. But it also shuts down my hunger. I'm going to be doing a video from Dr. Huberman where he took a step off of, he loves herbal mate tea for mental stuff, but he was talking about herbal mate tea, how it acts like a GLP-1, and I'm going to do some videos on that. This helps you feel full through two different pathways. It's helping you feel full in your gut because it's making your gut a little distended so your gut thinks that it's full, but it's also giving cues to your brain that you have energy so you're not having hunger. So now and then you're burning fat for fuel. So there's a couple of pathways. This helps you with the hunger, and it's important and it's key. It does not spike your insulin. So I do this every morning. I'll be drinking this. I actually have it hot, and then guess what? Any of you who know me, I already have one iced that I mixed up for it right after this. I drink 2 to 3 of them a day, but it helps with my energy levels. I had really bad, what they used to term adrenal fatigue before I started, needing naps throughout the day. Doctors said they didn't know how I was even upright. This tea and getting my insulin resistance under control fixed that. Okay. You can't get your bottom. Okay. Ms. Monique, so I know we've talked before, your blood pressure and the number on the bottom. So you guys are going to notice that your blood pressure's, no, Carmen, so we just talked about, they now have a booster pack of the Unimate. I was buying a couple systems and I would actually have some extra balance around. Then I would just buy an extra box of Unimate. They have what they call a booster pack. Yeah, the system is 1 a day. Some of us are crazy and I don't want to do sodas and that, so I have 2 a day, but they now have a booster pack. It's on my profile link, and I can get you the link directly to that. I'll put it in Facebook, but you can buy the 2-pack. You can get lemon, you can get lemon with lemon ginger, you can get both lemon ginger, you can get 1 lemon and 1 black. So 2 boxes of Unimate at a discount. And some people want to just do this and do like 1 balance a day. So you buy 1 kit of balance, and the next month you buy the booster pack. So you can have your 2 a day. And look, when I first did that, I was like, I don't want to spend more money. But when I started looking at other options and how much I was spending to do those flavored waters or those other things, I was like, you're spending about the same as you're spending on this, but this is giving you health. So I switched. You dropped your top number by 20 drinking green tea and garlic. So Ms. Monique, if you're not doing the system, I would try the system. Your bottom blood pressure, your diastolic blood pressure, is the one that you really want to pay attention to. It's going to be the one that's more stable over the long term. It's not going to go down as quickly. The systolic, when you have cortisol in your system, when you have stresses in your system, that top number is going to vary wildly depending on the stress in your life. Okay. If the bottom number is not going down, you still have some insulin resistance. You still have some long-term problems in there. You need to get that down. You've got to address your insulin resistance. Miss Goody, let's take a look at that again because I want to show, I'm going to show who just asked about the Carmen. So this is the deal. You guys, to order, go to my profile link up here. And then when the white box pops up below, you're going to click on that. And I got to get my life in order here. Then when you do that, it's going to take you to my profile here on YouTube, on TikTok. And you're going to see this. You're going to see, whoops, you're going to see my face. No, you're going to see this. Okay, so you're going to see my picture. Right below it, you'll see these red lights. There's a link under that. Click on that link. That opens up my my landing page, right? The very top option is where you order it. Now, for those of you who are saying, well, they don't send you enough for the 2 to 3 a day, and maybe you're doing OMAD, but you want to utilize the tea more, they now have the Unimate 2-pack. So you can switch. 1 month you can buy the Feel Great system, and the next month you can just buy the 2-pack of Unimate, or you can do both. But you now have an option to do that at a discount. So just click on that second link on my landing page, and it's going to take you to my page, where when you choose one of these, it's going to take you to the company's website to order. Okay, now, and then this page also has a ton of information about Unimate on it, including like the nutritional stuff and the science, all of that. Okay, that's where you're going to find it. Now, when we go back to my landing page, also the free ebook that I talked about, those 6 simple steps, is right here as well. If you need to just talk to me and figure out if this is for you, I'm not going to pressure you. This is your life, your choice. But you can contact me, ask questions, and we can work through what's good for you. Just use the WhatsApp and contact me. And then my recommendations. So the books that I talk about, all of that stuff is there. Okay. I hope that answers those questions. Let's get back here. Okay. Yay, there's my TikTok page. Loud and proud. Okay. Anything else? Yeah, Carmen. It's crazy. I'm so glad. I don't know. So don't hang me if it doesn't happen. But I've asked them, because if you know me at all, you know that we also have another product called matcha that's in the same form. You guys, you just mix these in water. That's why I love it. It's so easy. But I will often mix these two together. So this is giving me the fat burning, and this is giving me the mental clarity. This is giving me energy, but it still is helping my metabolism. And mixed together, they're called the Unimatcha Balm, and they taste great. So I've asked if we can do a similar thing where we buy a pack with Unimate and matcha. They're working on it. Okay. So there's all of that, those answers. And you guys, I'm going to go get this day going. I've got videos to do and people to call, and I will be back at 8 in the morning. We'll answer some more questions. I'm going to, you know what? I feel really bad that I couldn't talk more in depth about inflammation this morning. So I'm going to get my shiz together, and we're going to talk about inflammation tomorrow. Okay, you guys have a great day. Thanks for hanging out with me. We'll see you all tomorrow. I look forward to when I see your orders come through. I text you, I send you videos. You get to be my friend, and we get to talk. I was talking to people in Australia yesterday, and the UK, and just all over. So I do actually talk to you. Okay, so you're not left alone in this. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.